This is a continuation from the other video, I'm pretty sure. I actually don't remember where we left off. But we're still just looking at this same daily PDR level all the way up to 8 all-time highs. Actually, I don't think this is where we left off, but it doesn't matter. We'll just start here. So obviously we know it does go to all-time highs. I was already anticipating that anyway. But the moment we hold here, like I said, the whole bias was up anyway from the other videos. We're holding here, we're going to get to here. Right? If we're holding here, we're going to get to here at some point. So if we get rid of all these X's and we look at what's going on here, close this high. Maybe we'll go into the 15-minute real quick. Let's not spoil anything. Let's go back. 15-minute. Okay, cool. So we have closed these. We did close them. The next range down, in theory, is here. If we go to the 1 minute, we will see what brought us to here was this range. So this range held, never got retested into. Okay. This never got retested into. This range created this range held. We go on to 15 again. We have a low here. Let's get rid of this. Got a low there. We have the order block itself, even though this isn't really much of a range. So I'm going to see if we do trade back to this. We mark both levels. Yeah, cool. So from here we got to here. We'll potentially get a move back down to here before we go higher, as it's always that A to B movement, right? Like so. So maybe we'll see something coming back down. We'll get rid of this because we do have a couple of levels on our screen. Anything that says that we're breaking down so far? Not really. Close this high, maybe we come back down to here. Seeing this small range break, if it does break down, doesn't mean anything at all. You've got to realise, right, if you're at the top of a range and you've not moved up in an aggressive way, then it is just going to come back down to here anyway. So already anticipating that without it. Already anticipating that because we didn't move up aggressively, we just kind of went sideways. So once you see this go and this closed and this didn't do anything, you can already anticipate the move down to here. So in theory, right, there'd be nothing wrong with getting a short to that if we trade back up to here. It does do so and actually breaks this range. So if this range breaks down, this is the first sign of us actually being able to get down to here potentially. We don't have to get to there. We can hold off of some range here, because in theory, right, you break this range, you go to the next range. Cool. So go back on to 15. We have gained this order block. Don't think I spoiled anything now. I spoiled 6 minutes, who cares? Okay. Tapped into that order book open. I'm just going to get rid of this. Don't really need this on the screen. Did close this as well. If there wasn't a level here, I wouldn't be mad if you didn't, if you try to go for a short off of this, whereas this level is here. This could be the thing that potentially brings price back up to here. I wouldn't be looking at that just because this closed. If anything, I'll start to see if we can cycle above this high and get along. Because if this is holding, then that is telling us that that small 15-minute range is holding. We can break above the high potentially. So this close, anticipating movement back down, which I would have been. I would have tried the midpoint of this order block here with a swing as well at 52. So get rid of this, get rid of this. So we would have tried this. Why? Because this is telling us it's trying to hold. Breaking above here, broke below here, this did nothing, meaning shorts are not in play right now due to this level holding. Once we get that movement back down to the order block, a swing's created at 52. The moment we get in the midpoint of it, we attempt that to I guess just break up to the order block of 4.95. Also already break even in this as well. No reason why it has to trade all the way back down. And now I trail here because this is now, if this breaks up, this is a low. This just locks in half now. So we do have a high and a low here, or a high and a low. Cool. Okay, 0.5 didn't go too far there. Do I think it's going to break down? No. Still think there's potential for this to go up. Just currently moving sideways. If we just get the actual high here being this level. Oh, what's happening here, right, is we're holding the 15-minute order block on the bottom, and what is this? 15-minute old high, which I actually wouldn't really even look at. So it's just kind of between this 15-minute bearish order block, 15-minute bullish order block. Cool. Did we break this? No. We swept it. Have we swept the higher? Created off this low? No. So where do I think price is going to go? Above here. If we swept that, had a double sweep with this move down, and then I would have looked at that to try and bring us up to here. The first thing I would have tried, if I would have missed that, we would see once this closes, if we can get a movement back down to this gap that's created, show us that this is holding to go higher. We'll go to some stuff on our screen in that gap. So once that gap's holding, personally I would just go for the open here. I think the open would have been completely fine. Would already be break even as well with how far up it's gone. Because I went aggressive on the open, you kind of want to see it go here. If not, and it comes back down, I would simply just get a re-entry, because there is a swing in a minute as well. If the swing's up and doesn't close as high, then I wouldn't go for a re-entry. If the swing's down, stops me out, and then I would go for a re-entry. Didn't stop you out. Or didn't stop me out. Okay, cool. There's a swing. There's a swing. Because I am so convinced price is going up. Now I'd go for the midpoint of this order block. My stop loss at the low here. Not really looking at this range to hold. This is the order block for it. Why am I not looking for this to hold? Well, because I think direction's up. This is holding. I mean, in my opinion, this won't do anything. Can we break even yet? No. We can now. And unfortunately we've been stopped out and it went back up. Pretty typical, but what can we see here? Well, we closed this high. Closed the high. Came back to hold the order block, which is the next order block in play. Meaning this is your next trade to take. This is 15. I would actually wait for the swing to be put in first. There's a swing. And this is no longer the order block anyway. If I'm still anticipating that moving up, I'm saying this is the swing. Already closed this high. This is the next thing to hold, this order block. Put a stop loss here. Okay, now we have had that movement up, I would break even. Again here. Stopped out for break even. And this is just typical trades for me really. Getting into everything, getting a lot of break evens. I know in a lot of the recordings it looks like all of them just boom. But in the grand scheme of things, a lot of the days I just get millions of break evens. And this is what I'm saying, you need to understand when to break even, because there's so many losses you could have took here if you don't understand when to break even. For example, you're getting in here, right? You break even once, it retests, comes up to here. Why wouldn't you break even? Especially you got to look at it as well and go, if I was going for the midpoint of this wick, I'd have my stop loss here anyway, so why wouldn't I break even? Okay. Highs here, bunch of highs. Kind of just some sideways movement right now. Not really any trades to look at. Has broken out, so if it did test back down to this order block, I would go for something. It didn't, which is a shame. If it came down a couple more ticks, then I would have actually gone for this. Because we didn't. Actually, there's a swing. This is a swing. We tested this gap. We're holding that gap. Yeah, this isn't the lowest gap, but due because there's a swing and we close this range, looks like we might be able to move up in an aggressive way, because now we're coming up to this high. If we was to get a test back down into here, I wouldn't mind taking that. Unfortunately didn't. The next place where direction could flip momentarily would be this high, bearish order block. If we think that, we're already below the midpoint. Cool. This is going to flip direction, right? The highest order block of the whole entire range, the next thing in play. So why none of these random ones hold, because these are just random. They don't mean anything. This does. This is an actual order block. Generated that down to the range that broke us out to that, being disorder block 7R. Or you can be more greedy with it, go for the midpoint, add on an extra R. If you're not in the trade yet, I would wait for the swing to be put in. I would have been stopped at break even here, unfortunately. Actually, probably some profits, personally. I do troll very aggressively. Does this mean I wouldn't go for a re-entry? No, I would already be looking at the midpoint of this once we're below it. Already be in this, because we locked up 1.4R, right? So if we lose here, we're still up 0.44R. So haven't lost anything by taking a re-entry, because I'm pretty convinced we'll come down. Okay. Some choppy price movement sideways. I'm sure I would have been stopped at break even here. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I would have missed this move. I would have, yeah, it would have stopped me out to the tick, really. I know it wouldn't have. But I probably would have been trailed, so yeah, I would have been stopped out. But if we didn't trail for something so small like this, and then we could have got this whole move down, which we was anticipating. It's just clockwork. It's here, back down to the range that broke out. If I think that's what's going to hold us, and then why won't I already be looking at the midpoint of this order block? This is holding. Let's move forward. Okay. Let's see what happens at this high. We break that high. So in theory, this should hold. If not, then maybe we see us come down to this range. Bunch of lows here. Could you have ended off of anything here? Close to higher. Nope, did not close the midpoint of this order block, so I wouldn't be looking for that as a trade. So now we're in this, starting to develop this choppy sideways movement, potentially closing the high and the low. If we go on to 15 minute, just go back here. What can we see? Okay, we're trying to develop a range here. If we break this range, then we can possibly get the movement back down again. So I'm playing for this range to break, right? So what we can do is we can get the midpoint of this, see where that is. Midpoint of it is also the midpoint of this order block, right? Okay. So that attempted to hold. That's what was holding. It attempted to hold. Moved down. Swept these lows. ATT put in at 12. Okay. Closed here. Tested into the highest gap. So in my opinion, this looks like you could get this midpoint for a long. Because we broke this and we moved up into the highest gap here, I'd be a bit skeptical of taking this. I still believe it can push up, but because of these two things and this failing to hold, I wouldn't personally like to go for a long. Yeah, I still think it can long. So what I would do is I'd see if this holds, breaks this, comes down, then I can get something. And if that doesn't happen and it holds this and goes up and I miss the move, that's perfectly fine. But what do we get instead? Mini range here. Hold in this. Mini range created. Breaks to high. Holds this. Next order block in the sequence to hold would be this. So what would be wrong with this as a trade? I think this is a perfectly good trade. If I, like I said, I still think this has the potential to go up. We hold the midpoint of this order block. A little mini range created here. Close that high. Sweep all these lows. In theory, this range is still holding, right? We go on to a lower time frame. Get a bit of a better picture of what's going on. Okay. So this created the movement up to here. This flipped the direction down. Okay, this flipped the direction down. So that means we're going to come and return back down to this range. We come and return to this range. The 5 minute order block is, the whole entire range is here. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. I've got too much stuff on my screen. Okay, so holding that plus sweeping, plus I already think it could go back up because this was the next range it needed to hold. Just took its time to do so. Closed here, was a bit skeptical that maybe we can go down to this range. Holding this, swept this, double sweep again. Closed the higher. This was the next order block in play to hold. Get above the midpoint of that. Mini range here, close the higher. We take a trade here. Try and get up to here. Where's the low of this candle? Trailed for 1 hour. Maybe I would have been trailed out with that. If this wasn't a candle where it's just a straight up and down in 1 second, maybe I would have been trailed out somewhere on the 15-second around here. If not, and it was a quick move up and down, I'm sure I would just still be here. Now I'd be here. 2.57. Be here. Close this. Trail aggressive now because, to be honest, our target is around here. Or actually, okay. Let's go moving down. Any gaps? No, okay. We do have the order block of this range. I'll treat this and this kind of the same. This did create the movement down, so this could be the next range to hold. Which it is. Okay. Actually, I would keep that on my screen. That is the actual order block there. So I'd be looking at this range as, if it does do anything, which it did, I wouldn't actually be looking at this range really. I would still look for this, because this is the actual order block. If this range does hold, I'll be looking at it as just potentially have a little bit of a fake move down, maybe back down to the range to then get to here. But by then, we should already be starting to cycle that price movement up. Okay. You would not care about this closing because we just think it's going to come down to here. So this closing doesn't mean we're going to now just short all the way down to here. I did close. Okay, now we're at the bottom of the range. What we want to see, if we get rid of these things, we can add some lows here, because these, like I said, it doesn't mean we can now short all the way down to here, but it doesn't mean you still can't get here, considering the order block is this far down. Get rid of these, keep this on our screen. Okay, let's see what happens. We do actually sweep them at 56. Midpoint of that doesn't get tested. And if we are actually looking at things, the lowest fair value gap never got tested back into after creating the whole movement up. It's not really a surprise that this at some point has been revisited. Get rid of these. We've revisited the lowest point. If you go back onto the 15-minute, not really spoiling anything, just a couple of seconds first, couple of seconds forward, couple of minutes forward, sorry. Okay, it does definitely look like it's shortened down. So what I'll do here is I'll just see what happens in this next 15-minute candle. If we close this low, then I'll take longs off the table. If we don't close that low, then I can't see why we can't still break these highs and go higher. But in the back of my mind, I'm still potentially thinking that we might revisit here. After coming to here, right, like the thing I was saying all the way at the start, I'm still keeping that in the back of my mind. Okay, so it all depends on what this next candle does, really. If shorts are off the table, if it somehow breaks below here in this next minute, then I won't long. It doesn't, okay. Instead we have a big movement up. Not really any entries here, if I was kind of skeptical what's going on. Any entries now? Yes. I didn't think it was going to go up that fast if I spammed it. Why would I do this? Well, this is telling us it's holding. Didn't even come to this range here yet, so there's no reason why this is now just going to break here. If we're holding the point, the lowest point of this whole entire range here, sweeping these, close this higher but create this movement up. Next place for it to visit is back down, holds off of this, midpoint of the order book gained. Don't see why this isn't a trade you can't take, you wouldn't take, sorry. Would have targeted the order block, broke above the order block, trail here, maybe we can get these highs. So here's the thing now, you can only assume longs now. Now we've broken above this, now, maybe we get price movement back down before we do to this range. Would I be tried out yet? No, I didn't get tried out. You're either trailing aggressively when you're this high up, so you'd be here and out, or you're keeping this gap in mind. Kind of depends on what you want to do. Immediate rebalance there, so we're probably going to get stopped out, so I'll just try there, personally. Probably just been tried out. Okay. Now we're going to see if we can revisit this range. How to go higher. Okay, it doesn't revisit the range, it revisits the daily PDR. So it's holding the daily PDR perfectly. Maybe it's time for those all-time highs. Gonna go even further in depth here. See if the PDO does anything. Doesn't really do anything. Okay, cool. So at this point, you can only assume all-time highs now, right? Because we're so high to it. Once you get there, you're gonna have that flip. Yeah, it's all-time highs and it's kind of sketchy, but you're gonna have that flip. 52, 82 as well, right? Because this is the next level from here. So once we get here, we could revisit here. Get that back on my screen just for a second. Get rid of all these levels. Okay. The thing is, right, we never revisited this range either. So on a higher time frame, maybe the 15 minute, this is the next range to come to. So I would already been tried out of this as well, either there or trading aggressively. Regardless, would have been out. Close this, so we can now hold this. This is now, so we're basically just taking the same trade twice, right? 82. T2, put in. Maybe if we get below the midpoint of this candle, we go for that. Okay. In my opinion, this just looks 10 times better anyway, because we retested the high here. 82 put in. Filled. Trying to get it down to here at the very least. Okay, would have been stopped out here. So that was a good attempt to try and move price down. We are understand that once we're at these all-time highs, a lot of people are going to be buying to go higher, so those shorts do have to be break-even pretty fast. We just start to see what's happening here. Okay, we do break up and above here, so at this point there's no levels to go off of. This is the high, this is the low. Internally we're just breaking highs up, but we're also breaking lows, right? So there's not really a real direction right now. Now we're just breaking highs, breaking highs. I can assume the next move down is going to be back to the all-time high level. There's actually no fair value gap here until here. So what I'd look at is just this inversion fair value gap. Not really anything to go off of. 5 minute, okay, so it's a 5 minute order block here. We did close that, so this can hold. This can be the next thing that brings us back up again. It does revisit. Closed here. Just misses it. If it didn't, I would have tried something like at the midpoint of this candle to break higher. And this is kind of why I don't like trading all-time highs, because there's not really anything to go off of. You know, you miss levels quite often. Don't really trade anyway, just kind of going sideways price, just sideways price action forever. Maybe you get a breakout, goes up another $5 to $10, comes back down, goes sideways for another 2 hours. Because you got to think, it goes this high and it's only gone up $5. That's quite high for just $5. Just see what happens here. This is it, right? Like you break up. You break up here. And how high do you actually go? You go up another $3 just for it to probably come back down. Comes back down. Now we're actually at a good point because we're at those old all-time highs. If we're at those old all-time highs, swept all the stuff here, came down to the range, the next range here after these lows. Is there actually anything to go off of? Higher time frame. Just that 5 minute. That 5 minute order block here, which is, in theory, you would look at this and think it's just a random 5 minute order block. Why is this going to hold over this or this? Because this is the one that held off of the all-time high to create this whole movement up. So this is actually what I would be looking at for a move up. So if this does hold, or we revisit those all-time highs, which we know we do, something I would have tried is this. But don't get that because the stop loss is so freaking small anyway. It's 1.75. I'll probably try and just get into the trade. 3.5, come back up to here, you still get a good profit. Does fill us. Once we get that movement back down, I'm sure now with that test back in, because I entered the body, break even is a bit slower. I would be break even now with this candle back in. Trowel for almost 1 hour. Here's the thing though. Maybe you try aggressively, because if it does break back down, because we closed here, or come back down to here to try and hold that. So you could try aggressively for 1.36. Cool, you've been stopped out there. ATT to go down at 12. So this could be a bad long to take, even though this is the next one in the sequence. If we actually look back, we can kind of see ATTs are in play. I guess 3 didn't really do anything actually. So this wouldn't have been a bad trade actually. Yeah, I would have taken this. If ATTs aren't in play, what'd be wrong with that? You'd already be break even anyway. We've just been stopped out of break even. What's the next thing in play in theory, right? ATTs weren't really in play. I mean, 01. Yeah, 59 created the higher to go down, but other than that, none of them really did much. And it's just this thing like this. It's not really, don't really have a defined direction at all-time highs. It just kind of just does what it wants. Can't really react to anything. It looks like it's going to go down, and then as we see on the 15 minute, it just comes all the way back up. Off of what? Next range it needs to get tested. Well, this got tested. This range broke out. So this is the range that broke us up. Okay, cool. So in theory, this is exactly correct. This is completely correct, really, because tested here. This range held. Try to move us up. Fails. Next range down is this. This has already been tested into. So if we do plummet down now, this shouldn't even hold. So we'd go all the way down to here. Just look for what's been tested into and what hasn't. The 15 minute. And this is it, right? Like, yeah, maybe now we get we actually have a clear direction, but there's not really anything to go off of, because there is, when we come back down to here, we've got these 15 minute levels, but if a new range gets created and we're trying to get off aggressively to get along, you're going off of like 1 minute levels. So yeah, not really too much to do here, go off of, and this is like I keep saying, this is why I don't trade all-time highs. Gonna end the video here now because I mean there's not really much to say here.